Castles weren't just homes for royalty. They were also used as prisons to hold dangerous enemies and wayward members of the royal family. Today we're heading into the most infamous castle prisons to uncover what really went on behind those cold, hard stone walls. From the dungeons of Windsor Castle to the Tower of London, these are the stories of betrayal, torture, and terror that will make you shudder. At the top of the castle's crenellations, a guard stood watch, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of trouble. Below him, in the shadow of the massive structure, a lone figure trudged through the mud. His hands were cuffed behind his back, and a rough rope dragged behind him, chafing the skin from his wrists. He hadn't slept in days, and the meager rations they'd given him had done little to ease the gnawing hunger in his belly. He was just another prisoner of war, a victim of the brutal realities of medieval warfare. But his story was about to take a turn for the worse. For this was no ordinary castle, and his captors had no intention of treating him like one. Welcome to Castle Crags, where the enemy didn't just come from outside the walls, but sometimes from within. Treason was a capital offense, and the castle's dungeons were often the final destination for those who betrayed their king or queen. The prisoners would be held in the dank, dark cells, sometimes for months, without trial or judgment. The only sounds that broke the silence were the dripping of water and the occasional scream from a cell next door where some poor soul was being tortured. The castle's tower was the worst place of all. It was here that the most heinous traitors were brought to face their punishment. The tower was a symbol of the king's power, and those who entered it rarely emerged alive. In the 17th century, the English Civil War raged, and one of the fiercest battles took place at Castle Crags. The castle was defended by a small band of royalists led by Sir Thomas Fairfax. But despite their best efforts, the parliamentarians eventually captured the castle, and many of its defenders were taken prisoner. Among them was a young man named John Lilburne. He had been a tailor before the war, but now he found himself accused of treason and thrown into the dark, dank dungeon of Castle Crag. Days turned into weeks, and still no one came to see him. No one spoke a word to him, not a guard or a fellow prisoner. All he heard was the sound of his own heartbeat and the scurrying of rats in the walls. Then one day, the heavy wooden door creaked open, and a guard beckoned to him. Lilburne hesitated, fear gripping his heart, but he knew there was no escape. He had to follow. As he walked down the corridor, he could hear the sound of a single bell ringing slowly in the distance. Was it a death knell? Had his captors finally decided to end his life? Or was there something worse in store for him? What he didn't know was that this was only the beginning of his ordeal. For Castle Craig's darkest secrets were about to be revealed, and Lilburne was about to become one of its most tormented prisoners. Join us next time as we continue to explore the chilling tales of castle prisons, where the past comes alive and the shadows hold secrets that will make your blood run cold.